Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and greetings to everyone. My name is Ismail Hugamano. I am student of University Technology Petronas, UTP, and today we will learn about introduction to canoe polo. So before we start, here is the outline of the today lesson. So we will learn about the overview of the canoe polo, features, equipment, tactics, and full in canoe polo. So before we proceed into the canoe polo, we need to know what is canoe. So canoe is basically is a water sport. It's also water sport is such as swimming, snorkeling, and etc. So for the canoe, we need at least two main equipment they need to use to play this sport. So the first one is the canoe itself, where it was used to sit on the top, and the other one is paddle that used to move around using the pedal. So canoe is basically used for mostly used for competition, racing, recreation, and many more. And there are three main type of canoe, which is white water, flat water, and competitive. So these two are the example of the canoe itself and the pedal. These two are called traditional canoe and traditional paddle. So next we will go into our main topic, which is canoe polo. So basically canoe polo is also known as kayak polo. The canoe polo is such as soccer, but it was played uh, at the water, not at the field, not at the soccer field. So basically there are consists of two teams, where each team have five players and up to three substitute. Mainly purpose for score the opponent goal. So canoe polo is a combination of different sport such as soccer, rugby, netball, and hockey. And the objective, like I said before, to score the opponent goals. And to score the goals, they need to use ball. So the ball can be thrown using hand or flick with the pedal to pass around player or to shoot the goal. So the canoe polo was first demonstrated at the National Canoe Exhibition at Crystal Palace at the London 1970s, and the first championship was took at the Sheffield, England, 1994, and then was held after for every 2 years. So the picture below are the example of the championship, which was took at 2016, and as you can see here, there are two mainly teams compete each other to score the goal. Here is the goal, and if you notice, uh, if the player wearing black shirt, so the boat itself, the kayak itself must also in black to match the color of the whole team. So if the whole team was black, so the shirt and the canoe must also in black. So next, we will talk the features in canoe polo. So there are several types of features. So the first one is official. These four are just basic official. For the real tournament, there are many more official. So the first one is referees. We have two referees in each side of lane, and we have two judges to monitor the goal line, scorekeeper to record the score, and uh, to do a report to give to the head scorekeeper, and we have timekeeper to monitor the playing time and sending off limits. So one game of canoe polo can take up to 14 to 20 minutes, which have which consist of two half, where each half is 7 to 10 minutes. So the rule says here that one player can only hold balls for 5 seconds only. In the 5 seconds, the ball must be dribble or pass or shoot. And a team may only hold the ball only for 60 seconds. So next we will talk about equipment. So there are several purpose of equipment, but mainly for safety measure or for the canoe polo itself. So the first one is helmet and face guard that used to protect the player head from injury or accidental, such as being hit by paddle of the team member or opponent team member. So next one is goal, which is a frame with a net that are used to score the goal. So for each team, one goalkeeper must be assigned to protect their own goal from the opponent team. Then we have kayak, where the shape of the kayak is little narrow in each side. So and it's more lightweight from the other kayaks. Next we have paddle, which also known as double-bladed paddle. That the each side of the paddle is a double blade shape. They are used to flick or to play the ball. Next we have the water polo ball that made of buoyant material that allow it to float or to give more grips. So the size of the ball is different for men, women and juniors. Next we have buoyancy aids that are compulsory for the players to wear to protect the player torso from injury. Okay, next one we will talk about tactics. So there are two main tactics, which is offensive and defensive. In the offensive, we have overload, box player and star. And for defensive, we have 3-1, 2-2 and 5 all out. So for the first offensive overload, where the one or two player attack of each side, attack the defensive opponent defensive player, and to create a space for the third player to sprint forward, and it will receive the ball from the fourth player, and then it will try to shoot the ball into the goal. And then we have box player, where the one player will go directly into the opponent goal, and then he will try to receive a pass from the other player and try to shoot the ball into the goal. And then lastly for offensive, we have star, where each player will position themselves into the opponent player, try to treating to take the shot, and the fifth player will go sprint into the zone and try to take the ball and then try to shoot direct into the goal. Okay, for the defensive, we have 3-1, where the three player will go above the goalkeeper, one each side and one directly above the keeper, and the remaining will patrol the zone and aiming to pressure the ball and stopping player running into gaps in the defensive line. Okay, the next defensive is 2-2, where two player position their flag in front, each side of the goalkeeper, and the other two will go forward into the middle, aim to stopping player running into the zone and to place pressure to the attackers. So last one for defensive, we have 5 all out, where each player, include the goalkeeper, marks each opponent player and pressure the ball and every pass to try to force a mistake or gain an interception. Okay, lastly, in our lesson, we will learn about fouls. So basically, we have 9 different fouls and 3 different ways to know what type of foul is this. So the first one we have illegal substitution and entry into the playing area, illegal possession, illegal hand taken, illegal kayak, illegal use of paddle, illegal jostile, illegal screen or obstruction, illegal holding, and unsupporting behavior. We have, like I said before, there are 3 principles that can apply to determine the severity of foul. So the first one is deliberate foul, where there is no effort was made to avoid the illegal. So the player should receive a green card, either immediately or the next break in play. So the next foul is the significant contact, in the any part of the opponent body that may result injury. And the last one is significant contact, with any impact or continuous contact that may result in equipment damage or personal injuries. So that's all for our lesson today. Thank you for your cooperation.